Before we get into today's video, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you guys are ready for the weekend. Are we? Anybody doing anything special or anything fun? Well, I am, because right now, while y'all are watching this video, I am doing something pretty transformational. If you guys want to keep up with what's going on with that, make sure you guys subscribe to my second channel, which is Casually Christina. We do things way more casually over there. It's always linked down in the description box along with my Patreon link. My Patreon is just more personal over there. We do more personal story times. We go live. It's a good time if you are 18 and up and you would like to join. And I also have an Instagram, and all of those are always linked down in the description box if you'd like to come and check me out. Say the same thing every single time. Anyways, in today's video, we are going to be talking about Colleen Ritzer. Now, I'm not going to ask you guys if y'all have heard about this case, because I know a ton of y'all have, because you've been sending it to me. It's actually gone pretty viral over on TikTok, and this is the story of a 24-year-old teacher, Colleen. She was a 9th grade algebra teacher. She was that teacher at her school that everybody loved. I mean, there was probably multiple teachers like that, but she was definitely one of them. You know, she was young, she was lively, she was passionate about algebra. She tried to make class fun for her students, and she just loved her job. But however, in 2013, that high school would change forever. So before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. Thank you so much, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring today's video. If you guys do not know what a VPN is, it is a virtual private network, and let me tell you why you need one. It is 2021, and there are hackers and people out there constantly trying to steal your data. It is literally their full-time job. They are getting so creative now, to the point that now when you go into public, these hackers are setting up hotspots that look like names that you would want to connect to. That way people can connect to their internet, think you're using a hotspot or some Wi-Fi, and they are stealing your data while you are doing it. But ExpressVPN will create a tunnel between your device and the Wi-Fi. This is the ExpressVPN app. Tap it, it opens so easily. All I have to do is press that, boom, disconnected. All I have to do is click this right here. And now these are all the countries that I can choose to have my VPN. I'm just gonna hit the UK one. And boom, I'm connected. That easy. If you're interested in keeping your data private, click the link down in the description box so you can find out how you can get 3 free months of ExpressVPN today, or go to expressvpn.com/Christina Randall and keep your privacy private. Thanks again, ExpressVPN. So let's just start at the beginning. Colleen Ritzer was a 24-year-old, very popular teacher at Danvers High School. She was born in May of 1989. She was about 5'6", with dark blonde hair and blue eyes and a bubbly personality. She was the oldest of 3 children, and she was very much known as the nurturer. Her parents would later say that she wanted to be a teacher ever since she was in preschool. She didn't figure out what she wanted to teach until she got older and realized that she loved math. Some of y'all out there love math. Shout out to you guys. Numbers, oh my gosh. However, she definitely seemed like the kind of teacher and had the reputation of a teacher that made math fun. Colleen had a Twitter where she would try to keep the kids involved there and, different math problems and jokes. She also spoke out about different television shows she was watching just to kind of try to stay trendy and connected with her students. It was very important for her to have a genuine connection and relationship with her students. That way she felt like she could teach them better. Colleen was teaching and living in Danvers, Massachusetts, which is actually known for the Salem witch trials stuff, and I guess back in the 1600s, and then later this part of Salem's name was changed. I don't know, maybe to shake the stigma or the reputation, whatever, but it's Danvers now, and it's actually a very small town. They say there's about 25,000 people there. They have 5 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 high school, and that high school is Danvers High School, the high school that Miss Colleen was teaching at. Colleen was super family oriented and very, very close with her parents and her siblings. She spent almost all of her free time with her siblings and her family. She still lived at home with her parents. I mean, she wasn't married, she didn't have any kids, and she had no desire to move out at this time. She would come home every day after work around 3:30 and sit and talk to her mom about her day. Her mom worked from home, but her mom would later say that every single day when Colleen got home, she would either come into her office and talk to her and ask her how her day was, and Colleen would tell her how her day was, and she would go sit on the couch and talk to her dad. And her brother was actually away at college, but he said that when he was growing up, he was so close to his oldest sister. I mean, she was like a second mom to him. And then her little sister was actually a senior in high school herself. So you guys can just envision how close this family was. Colleen also was a proud Christian and had practiced that faith ever since she was a little girl, along with the rest of her family. Colleen had been teaching at Danvers High School for about 2 years at this point, and Danvers High School had about 100 teachers and 1,000 students in the whole entire town. Like, that was the one high school. How cool is that? Do any of y'all live in small towns like that? That seems like that would be super cool, because basically you're going to school with everybody your age. So if you're 14 or 15, every other 14 or 15-year-old that's going to a high school is at your school. So it seems like it would be kind of neat. Colleen had the same exact routine every single day. Her mother said every day she got up, she had her morning routine, she skipped off to work, she stayed a little bit extra after work, and she would come home, talk to her family, eat, do grade papers from home, and it was every day the same thing. And so she was really just a creature of habit. In October of 2013, Colleen started getting more excited because she was a fall Halloween type of girl. Her mother would later say that she loved Halloween. It was her favorite holiday. She liked to dress up in little things and go to school in them. And she really just liked to get the kids involved and connect with them in that way, but also celebrate Halloween in her way. And so now it's October. The leaves are starting to fall. It's starting to get cooled off. She's getting excited. You got Halloween, then you got Thanksgiving, then it's Christmas and it's New Year's. And she was just in an all-around great mood. Colleen noticed that she had a new student that she hadn't heard of or seen before. It was a 9th grade boy named Philip Chisholm. He had actually moved from Tennessee 2 months prior and had started a new school there at Danvers with new people in a new town, and just him and his mother had moved there. Now, his mother, come to find out later on, had just went through a nasty divorce from Philip's father, and it is said that it got really ugly and was very difficult, and then Philip's mom moved with her and him there to Danvers. So Colleen had her eyes on this new student. Again, this is a small town. Everybody knows everybody. And she noticed that he was quiet and he stayed to himself. Philip began to play soccer there at Danvers High School, which he had played soccer previously in his town in Tennessee, and he was really good at soccer. He was super serious about it. His previous coach would later say that when he would come to soccer practice, he could always depend on Philip to be serious about soccer. The coach said that when he would come to soccer practice, all the other kids would be goofing off, they'd be wrestling each other, they'd be joking, but Philip would always be paying attention, and he was a great soccer player. Well, it was the same thing at Danvers High School. I mean, he had only been there 2 months, but he was already excelling. One of the teachers would later say that he started a history class there, and he asked to be moved to honors history because he wanted more of a challenge. On October 22nd of 2013, Colleen arrived to school like she always did a few minutes before 7 a.m. Now, on this day, they were having at the school a dress like your best friend's day. So Colleen and one of her friends that was another teacher got together and collaborated to dress the same. Colleen wore a purple shirt and black pants, and she walked into the school carrying a black tote bag over her shoulder. The day had went on like a normal school day, and around 1 o'clock, the last period started. Now, this was the period that Philip Chisholm was in her algebra class. He came in, they did class, she taught like normal, and then it got towards the end of the day. And the way that they do it at this school is the last period class ends at 1:55. However, from 1:55 to 2:30, they have what they call a bubble period. Now, for that 35 minutes, you can either study, you can stay after class or go to another class and get tutored by that teacher for 35 minutes, or you can get into a study group or go to the library, anything school related that is beneficial to you for that last 35 minutes. And I actually think that's amazing. Why don't all schools do that? That is great. That last 35 minutes, if you need help with, preparing for a test, whatever, I think that's amazing. Nevertheless, it was getting towards the end of the day. Now, this is where things get a little bit fuzzy. I've heard different stories, okay? I've watched testimonies of the court proceedings. I have read the autopsy reports and the data. Spoiler alert, obviously this is a true crime video and it's going to get pretty brutal here in a second. But one of the students said that Colleen walked over to Philip, who was kind of slouched in his seat and not saying anything, and noticed that during class he was drawing on a notepad instead of taking notes like he was supposed to be. This student said that Colleen bent down to him and said, "Wow, you're really good at drawing." And he said, "Yeah." And she said, "Do you mind staying after class to talk to me?" And that's what the student said that they heard. However, later on, another teacher is going to say something else, but let's keep going here. The bell rings at 1:55 and class is over, and now we're in this bubble period. All of the students leave except for 2 students. One of the students that stayed after class was a young girl who actually didn't need tutoring. It is said that she asked Colleen if she could draw on the board and hang out with her. She loved Colleen so much. That was her favorite teacher. However, it was this girl that stayed and Philip that stayed after class. Now, this is where the other part of the story comes in. It is said by another teacher that Colleen came out of the classroom to talk to this other teacher in the hallway. Her and this other teacher, while the 2 students were still in the class for this bubble period, were talking about all kind of random stuff. They were talking about another student who unfortunately came down with head lice. They were talking about what they were going to do. And then Colleen told this teacher that the young girl that was in there stayed after class so she could draw on the board, and that she didn't really know why Philip was in there. He didn't need to be in there. He was doing just fine in the class, but he was in there, and they didn't think too much of it. And then Colleen went back into the classroom. So that is where the 2 stories, nevertheless, it doesn't really matter. Philip stayed after class with this girl and with Colleen. Now, according to testimonies, this is when Colleen started just making small talk with the students, and somehow, some way, Tennessee came up, and Colleen started talking about Tennessee. The other student that was drawing on the board said that she noticed that Philip became visibly angry when she brought up Tennessee. Colleen noticed that this upset Philip, and she immediately changed the subject, but the other student would later say that Philip continued to mumble under his breath something. Now, after this interaction is when the other female student said bye to Miss Colleen or Miss Ritzer and told her she was a wonderful teacher, and actually told her that she was sad she was not going to see her the next day. Colleen gave her a hug and told her she was great too, and said bye to the other student. Now, at this point, it's just Colleen and Philip in the room. And this is when Colleen excused herself from the room and said that she had to go to the restroom. The school's security camera footage shows Colleen walking out of the classroom and down the hall and then into the ladies' restroom. It is what the security camera footage catches next that's super chilling about this story. It shows Philip waiting a few seconds and then coming out, kind of looking down the hallway, seeing if he sees anything, and then he goes down the hallway in the same direction. Then it shows Philip walking into the female restroom where Colleen had just went to. Not long after that, it shows another female student going to walk into that restroom, but then leaving out immediately. That female student would later say that the reason why she left so abruptly is because when she walked in, she saw skin, she saw a butt. Is that the right word? Gluteus maximus. She saw a butt and she thought, okay, either somebody's in here changing clothes or somebody's in here doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Either way it goes, I don't want to see it. That's embarrassing. And she hurried up and left, and she went to another restroom in another part of the school. Now, a few minutes later, the camera shows Philip leaving the restroom in a hurry. And then not long after that, it shows him coming back. When he comes back, he's wearing a mask, gloves, and he's pulling a recycling bin. He pulls the recycling bin into the bathroom, takes a few minutes, and then pulls it out again with the gloves, the mask, and he's rolling the bin down the hallway. He wheels the bin down the halls, out the school, and past people. He wheels it down sidewalks where people are seeing him, looking at him, like here's this teenager in a mask and gloves. Now, it is later said that when people were looking at him, they were probably just thinking like, okay, what are these young kids into nowadays? What is this fashion? Why is he wearing this mask and these gloves? Like, I mean, it's in broad daylight. It's after school, you know, why are you taking this trash out in this, whatever, you know, these crazy young high schoolers, they're just always doing something new, right? Anyways, he pushes it down the sidewalk and then he disappears from the cameras. Later that evening, when Philip does not return home from school, his mom begins to worry. She contacts the school. Nobody has seen him. She contacts local authorities. Now, local authorities start looking for him. They're calling around. They're calling his cell phone. They cannot get in touch with him. They got a hold of his soccer coach, who said that he never showed up to soccer practice that day. And, you know, this soccer coach didn't think anything of it. I mean, it could have been anything. He could have had another appointment. He could have been tired that day. He could have had a stomach ache. I mean, who knows what, but a soccer coach said he didn't show up, and he got a hold of the soccer team, and the whole soccer team was looking for him at this point. They're all calling around. They cannot find Philip. However, at the same exact time, Colleen's parents began to worry because she was missing as well. They were calling her cell phone. It rang and rang and rang, and nobody answered. They eventually went up to the school to look for her, and they noticed that her car was sitting right there in the parking lot. They went to her classroom, and she was gone. Her sweater was still sitting on the back of the chair, and it just did not seem right. I mean, Colleen's parents knew that she had the same exact routine every day. She would not just up and leave and go somewhere and not call her mom. I mean, again, she's not like she had a husband or a boyfriend or kids. You know, her family was her life. And now her car is here. Her classroom door is wide open with her sweater over it, and she's just gone. Now, at this point, they contact authorities as well, but the authorities are way more focused on finding 14-year-old Philip. I mean, this is a teenager. Colleen's an adult. She may have gotten a ride and went down to the Dairy Queen for all they know. As the investigators continued to look for Philip, they started to put two and two together. Okay, Philip was in Colleen's class. Neither one of them have been seen. What happened? And of course, investigators are thinking a multitude of different things. You know, did somehow she give him a ride home? Did they go off somewhere? Or, you know, are they together? You know, what happened? Where is this teacher and student? The cops came to the school and started searching the school, and nothing looked too out of place except for a bathroom. That bathroom, when they went into that bathroom, it looked very clean. It smelled like chemically clean. Very, very clean in there. However, when you're walking out the door, there was a handprint that looked like a bloody handprint smear, but it was very, very faint. And this is when this female officer who found this started calling her partners over. They looked at it. They did not touch it. They started discussing. And before you know it, the police department put a tracker on Philip's phone. Now, when they put a tracker on Philip's phone, it pinged at a movie theater not far away. They went to the movie theater and they found out that Philip actually watched like 1 or 2 movies. And they're thinking, what the heck? So while other investigators are at the school, they pulled the security camera footage, and that is when they saw everything that they saw. And they're thinking, what the heck happened? They saw Ritzer go into the restroom. They saw Philip come out into the hallway, look both ways, and then follow her in there. They saw him leave in a hurry, but come back with the gloves and mask on. They saw him wheeling the recycling bin outside and down the sidewalk, and they got the dogs. The dogs started searching everywhere. They were looking for him, for her. They're confused. Sometime after midnight in a neighborhood, somebody called the authorities and said, there is a person walking around in this neighborhood. He has got a hoodie on and a jacket. It is really late. Can you just come and make sure he's not doing anything? When the cops come, they find that it's Philip. Philip was walking after midnight at nighttime with that hoodie over his head. And when they got him, they asked him where he'd been, all of that. He wasn't giving a lot of information up, but he had his backpack on from school. When they searched his backpack, they found a bloody box cutter, Colleen's debit cards, and some cash. And they found a bloody pair of underwear, women's underwear. They started to question him, and at first he told the cops that he robbed her. He robbed her car, he took her purse, and that's how he got her cards. But as they started questioning him about the bloody box cutter and really pressing him, and they said, whose blood is this? He said, the girls. They immediately took this 14-year-old young boy in for questioning and called his mother in as well so they could question him. I'm not quite sure what he told them. He told them something, though, because later on in court, it gets a little fuzzy, and we'll get there. But nevertheless, they continued to search out there by the school, and a little bit after 3 a.m., the investigators come up on a pile of leaves that looked out of place. Right before that, though, they had found Colleen's purse. It was completely empty. It was just the purse. And then later on, when they were walking up, they found a pair of tennis shoes, which was some gray tennis shoes that had some blood on them. They found a couple gloves that were turned inside out. And then they came up on this pile of leaves. And when they uncovered the leaves, they found Colleen's lifeless body, nude from the waist down, and deceased. This is your trigger warning now for all kinds of stuff. They found her throat slit, and she had been stabbed multiple times and obviously beaten. She definitely seemed to have been assaulted in that way. The way that her body was positioned was, again, nude from the waist down, legs were spread open, and just put in a very disgusting and disturbing way. I mean, any of it's disgusting and disturbing, but you guys get what I'm saying here. They knew that this was obviously not an accident. This is a very clear murder at this point. And when they all put 2 and 2 together with the box cutter and the dirty underwear and her being, naked from the waist down, they went in to question him again. And this is when he started telling a little more. He said that when he followed her in the bathroom, he karate chopped her neck. He said he cut her throat with the box cutter, and he denied the assault, in that way. He denied that, which we're going to get to that more at the end. He put her body in that recycling bin and then wheeled her down into the wooded area. Now, it did come out later whenever they were doing the autopsy and all of that, there was like this big stick. And not only did he assault her in that way in the bathroom, which was why that girl saw a naked butt. It was his naked butt that she saw. But when he was in the woods, he took a stick and assaulted her with the stick as well. Now, he maintained his innocence for that type of assault, but it was later proven that it was a lie because they actually found his DNA inside of her. Like, how disgusting and disturbing. but let's keep going. The autopsy showed that she had 16 neck wounds, 14 stab wounds, and many other wounds, including 3 to her jugular alone. And what I think happened was, I think when they got him in there to questioning with his mom, I think the investigators do what they always do. It's best to tell the truth, boy. Tell the truth. We can't help you if you don't tell the truth. And I think he started telling a little bit of the truth. And I think his mom was encouraging him, thinking she was going to help him, but he didn't tell the whole truth. Well, by the time he told enough for him to really be arrested, and his mom and him realized, oh crap, nobody's helping us. They're helping this case. That's when he shut up and he closed down, because later his mom would get so upset during the courts and say that they pressured him to talk and they pressured him to say stuff that he shouldn't have said. Well, that is their job. As investigators, their job is to figure out who did the crime, what happened, and find out the truth. So with a combination of his story and autopsy and evidence, what it seems like happened is, on this day, he stayed after class for whatever reason. She went to the restroom. He followed her in there, did what he did to her neck with a box cutter, whatever it was. He assaulted her in that way. He did whatever else he did to her. The girl walked into the restroom while he was in the middle of the assault. Now, they were in the restroom, Philip and Colleen's body, for 11 minutes. And I mean, a lot of stuff can happen in 11 minutes. It's so heartbreaking. When the girl walked in and walked out, he got spooked. He thought he was caught. And then he rushed out, went and got his gloves. Now, that day at school, he actually brought with him the box cutter and the gloves and all of that, and the mask, which pretty much tells us it was premeditated, right? And he went and got the recycling bin, brought it back, put her body in it, wheeled it out there, assaulted her again, took her panties, kept them, took his gloves off, took his shoes off. He went back into the school, went to his locker and changed clothes again, okay? So in the beginning, he had on one outfit, then he had on another, and then he put on an all-black outfit that he had in his locker, and that's what he left and went and took her cards that he stole out of her purse, went to the movies, it is alleged that he saw 2 movies, okay, and then was walking down the street when authorities were notified and he was picked up. He took it to trial. They tried everything. They tried him, being insane. They tried that he snapped, that his mother and the defense attorneys tried he had just had a terrible accident from his dad being separated from his mom and the move and all of that. And he went into a psychosis. But however, after many different evaluations, he was fully competent to stand trial, and he went to trial. Now, the problem is, I think a lot of people think, just because obviously he has mental issues, in my personal opinion. Okay, this is my personal opinion, because you cannot not have serious mental issues and do this type of thing to a person. People that starve their children, people that abuse their children, you can't be a sane person and be okay with doing that, in my opinion. Okay, so obviously he's got mental issues, but like we've talked about in many cases before, a lot of people have mental issues. Probably more people do than don't. Well, we probably all do if you put us in some sort of scale, right? I mean, even having the thoughts to do these things should be a crime, although we can't think things. To fantasize about doing this type of thing to your teacher or anybody is disturbing, but yet acting out on it. So they did evaluate him to find out if he could tell the difference between fantasy and reality, and he could, and so he stood trial. Now, he was found guilty, get this, for the premeditated and deliberate murder of Colleen. And he got life in prison for that one, but he's eligible for parole in 25 years. He got 40 years for the assault in that way. And for the armed robbery, he got life with the possibility of parole in 25 years. Now, thankfully, he got the other charge, the assault charge, because he'll have to do 40 on that regardless. It's crazy to think that he could have done all of this and been out in 25 years. And if he's 14, he'd have been out before he was 40. That is so terrifying to think about. Now with the other charge, he will be in there at least until he's in his upper 50s. However, his family did say that they were going to fight that he is not released on parole, that they want him to stay in there. That is their personal choice. I I can't imagine what they're going through, and I definitely can't speak on that, but I understand their hurt and pain. Will they feel different in 40 years, and will he be a different person? I don't know. Only time will tell, but he'll be almost 50 when he gets out. Philip's mother was in court just crying. I just cannot imagine as a mother. Now, they said there was no warning signs with him. Zero. Zip, zitta, zilch, which I do find hard to believe. Sometimes we look past things as a mom. We do. We are parents. We do. We think, oh, it's nothing. Oh, they're just whatever. However, I don't know. Maybe there was no warning signs. If there wasn't, that's even scarier in my opinion. Colleen's family filled up most of their side of the courtroom. I mean, she had so many people that loved her and supported her. And, God bless her and her whole entire family. Like, I just cannot imagine, again, everybody's life is valuable. It doesn't matter what life you choose, what path you choose, whether you are a homeless person that's living on Skid Row or whether you are, the most generous person, self-giving person on the planet. Your life is valuable. But if we're talking about Colleen, she really just loved her students and wanted to help them and genuinely did not take teaching as just a job. She took it as her passion, her life mission, as her way to give back to the community, to the world. And it's so sad. And it does make me think too, which I hope her family is healing. I hope they're doing okay. But it makes me think about those teachers in that school. Imagine being a teacher, okay? After this, you're probably looking at every student. Anytime you have a quiet student that's kind of got an attitude, as a teacher, you think, the trauma that has spread, especially in that school, probably to other teachers in different places that had heard of this story at the time, but definitely in that school, especially when you have a very nice teacher too. It's not that if you were a mean teacher, you deserved it, but it's what more could she have done to not be attacked and killed by her student? Ugh. So something that disturbs me real quick about this is the fact that the way that they worked it. Oh, one more thing too. The way that they worked this for him was that he was 14 years old when he was arrested at the time. 14, just a baby. He is supposed to stay in the juvenile system until he's 21 and then he goes to prison. I don't think that should happen. No. Don't baby him in there with other kids and then also possibly inspire or encourage or rub off on other children. No, put him with the adults. He wants to do big boy things. He needs to be in the big boy camp. Okay, that's my personal opinion. I mean, this is not like an accident. It's not like he stole a car and accidentally got into an accident and somebody got hurt, which is still bad. This was premeditated evilness, and you want to know how bad it really was in his heart. He attacked in 2014 while he was waiting to go to trial for this. He attacked a female guard clinician. She was labeled both things at the juvenile justice facility. Now, it is said that he had been talking to her for months there. She was probably giving him medication. I don't know. I've been in juvenile justice system, so I'm envisioning her being a guard, but also clinician. She's probably the person that came and brought meds to them. I'm just guessing. And he waited until she went into another room. He had a pencil and he went in there and was trying to attack her when she screamed and the other guards came running and got them off. So he did this again. Why is he still in with the kids? Put him with the adults. That's my opinion. Let him go on over there. Have y'all heard about this story? How sad is this? Another 14-year-old, you guys know we were talking about Aiden, and we are still going to be following that case. And what's up with these kids, man? Another thing too, though, is when we watch these cases like, the Ted Bundy, so many of these killers, there is a sexual element involved with it. Probably 90%. There is a sexual element that is involved in these cases. And what does that say about our future, especially with social media now and children being exposed to these things younger and younger and younger? What does that say about our life in 30 years from now? Just curious. I know whenever I was a kid, if you wanted to see something dirty, you had to pull the chest out from under your uncle's bed when nobody was home and try to find a magazine real quick and look at it real quick before anybody finds it. Now children, they just pick up their phone and it's right there. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, my loves, thank you so much for watching this video. Please do not forget to like it. It's a free way that you can help your girl out. And until next time, I love you guys so very much. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye. Love you guys. Bye.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are